up on CTV News tonight, fears of an ammonia leak in Hornby, and the Waimakariri district is classified in the green zone. Welcome to CTV News, I'm Rob Cope-Williams. Christchurch is still cleaning up after the major snow, with travellers having to deal with very icy conditions. Here's Emily Cooper with the latest updates.
Hi everyone. According to the Christchurch Police, you're all taking care on these icy roads. There have been no major incidents, except for minor nose-to-tail crashes, mostly around the city's intersections. Crews have been applying grit to snow and ice affected roads since 5 a.m. this morning. However, melting snow and low temperatures mean ice is expected to remain a hazard in some areas for at least another 24 hours, black ice being a particularly major issue. Police say the priorities are the main arterial roads and the hill suburbs around the city. Information on road closures and conditions is available from the AA and Christchurch City Council websites. Sand has been applied to footpaths around the Christchurch Hospital and also in Littleton. Council facilities including libraries, service centres and sports and recreation facilities reopened this morning. Bus services ran as scheduled this morning except for the number 10 Cashmere, number 11 Westmoreland and number 14 Dyers Pass Road, which all terminated their services at the bottom of the hill as they couldn't travel up the hill. If you want to see what buses are running in your area, you can on the Facebook page and at metroinfo.co.nz. Demolition contractors also gained access to the red zone at 9 o'clock this morning. We'll keep you further updated tomorrow. Make sure you keep warm.
It's been announced that parts of the Waimakariri district are classified in the green zone, but local MP Clayton Cosgrove says there's still many decisions that need to be made.
The government announced last week that all of the Selwyn district and large parts of the Waimakariri district have been reclassified from the white zone to the green zone. However, the reclassification does not include the Kaipoi ward area. This area has been zoned into either the red, orange or green zones. After the government's land announcement, restoration work was put on hold for the area, and local Labour MP Clayton Cosgrove says the latest announcement has not changed much.
In theory, not a lot has changed. You've got some large patches of Waimak which had in general superficial damage which have now gone green. That doesn't mean a lot for people because those repairs in effect could start to take place when people deemed it was appropriate. The critical area, of course, where most of the damages, 99% of it, and heavy duty damage is Kaipoi, and nothing has changed in terms of certainty. In fact, they're more uncertain now than they were a couple of months ago, or a month ago, when the council was about to break ground.
The announcement means homeowners in the green zone who've had their EQC claim assessed can get on with processes of repairing or rebuilding their home. But Mr Cosgrove says the announcement should have been made clearer.
The announcement wasn't handled well. We had a lot of people ringing our office on the day saying, look, where's the boundary between green and other areas? The Land Check website, people were logging onto that, nothing had changed on that, hadn't been updated. You couldn't even get a map out of Sarah to give people that information, and as usual those of us who are sort of disseminating information trying to help constituents weren't forewarned, so it means people are sort of scratching their heads wondering where they are. Now I think that is a logistical and management problem which Mr Brownlee needs to address, but he does have a track record of simply firing from the hip without being prepared, and the losers in that are constituents who are desperate for information. And, when it's announced, they go and look for it, it's not there.
He says people are still struggling with the EQC and says Kaipoi is still in a holding pattern.
If you're in the green zone, it's really a matter for you, and a lot of people are saying, well, hang on, I've still got insurance EQC problems. There are still a heck of a lot of constituents around Canterbury who are struggling to get emergency repairs done. If you're in, orange and red zones, well, especially orange zones, you're sort of in a holding pattern. So for most of the people in Kaipoi, for instance, they're just in a holding pattern, waiting and waiting and waiting. I attended a Residents Association meeting a week or so ago. People were pretty vitriolic in terms of having no information. And I think what's been lost on Sarah and Mr Brownlee is where you say nothing for a long period of time, there's a vacuum and people become uncertain. Even if you front up to people and say, look, here's where we're going, we're still progressing along the way, but we don't have an update for you. If you've got that constant contact, then you can provide some confidence for people.
And he says further decisions are needed.
A decision on and not just a decision on the orange zone areas, and this is for the whole of Canterbury, not just Waimakariri, but also an explanation as to the rationale behind that decision. So if they are to go red or green or what have you, and there are issues around the borders of those zones, then there has to be some proper and professional information put out there. And by the way, people have to be handled with a lot of care. This is, the people in Karaki Beach were simply blown out of the water. They were 2 days away from confirming their new plans to their houses before the announcement, and all they expected was a delay, no preparation in that announcement. They were suddenly told they're toast. They were absolutely devastated emotionally. Now that's the sort of management that is botched, and you've got to look after people, because this is a hell of a big decision in their lives. And then that's got to be followed by some decent backup, and people have got to have some legal advice provided to them as they're considering the next step. Mr Brownlee's refused to do that at this point.
The CERA website has been updated to reflect the new zoning. You can visit that at landcheck.govt.nz, or for more information about what the green zone means, you can visit cera.govt.nz.
More than 250 skiers spent the night stranded at Canterbury's Mount Lyford ski field last night. Strong winds yesterday picked up in the field, causing snow to blow onto the access road. Then a large amount of fresh snow started falling above the road, which caused a potential avalanche risk, which was then forced the skiers to stay overnight. And evacuations took place this morning in Hornby as there were concerns of an ammonia gas leak. The fire service dealt with the leak, and police initially evacuated some stores at the nearby Hub shopping mall. It was soon discovered, however, that the leak was not as serious as first thought, so evacuations were suspended. Coming up after the break, funerals around the city postponed because of the snow. Welcome back. The agricultural contractors in Canterbury say that old legislation is hampering them and they are having to break the law.
Our biggest challenges are regulations at the moment, and regulations like our transport regulations have been really hammering the agricultural sector since 2007, and that's caused us a real issue. Overweight permits, over-dimensioned vehicles, and also labour, trying to get on the skills shortage list, getting operators in from overseas.
And yet you would think that everybody would want to drive something big and powerful. Yeah,
we do, but the trouble is the Labour Department thinks that because we have unemployment in this country that we can just chuck anybody on a tractor and drive it like a car.
I guess one of the things that I've noticed is anything on the road has got to have a vehicle in the front, a vehicle in the back, more lights than a Christmas tree, so it's all added expense.
Oh, definitely, and statistics show that in the rural sector, agricultural contractors in a 10-year period have only had very minimal incidents, and we could count them all on one hand.
So you're saying that really it's bureaucracy rather than being practical?
I don't think bureaucracy. I think as a professional organisation and operators, we've come a long way. A lot of our guys are very conscious that they need to maintain machinery for profitability, but also for safety. We all have warrants and registrations and safety chains and hazard panels, and safety is paramount, because at the end of the day, if we don't get to the job, we get stopped or we have an incident, it just wrecks our day completely. So.
Let's just revisit your hours, because if you're being treated like a truck driver, that's not fair.
No, we've had a real battle since 2007. A mistake was made in a government paper, back then the Labor government. The Good Service Vehicle Amendment Bill, the words were changed to Good Service Vehicle to Heavy Vehicle, and that encumbered all agricultural machinery. Now we're tarred with the same brush as trucks doing 90 kilometres an hour down the road and on the road full time, whereas we spend very minimal amount of time on the road and usually doing sort of 30-40 kilometres an hour.
So are you able to lobby?
We've been lobbying fairly strong. the old story is once it's in there, it's very hard to remove it, and they keep saying it's a safety issue. While we acknowledge that we don't want to incumbent safety, but the fact of the law is that at the moment we have contractors out there having to meet farmers' needs at critical harvest times, and there is no way around it. We just unfortunately have to break the law.
The icy weather has caused many funerals around the city to be postponed, with many unable to say goodbye to their loved ones. Gracie Fee spoke to funeral director Steve Parkin about Monday's and Tuesday's problems.
Final goodbyes and grieving have been made difficult this week, with the icy weather causing disruption and forcing funeral directors to postpone ceremonies.
Yeah, when the weather's like this, people obviously aren't sure whether the funeral will be on or not. And our office was fielding a large number of calls yesterday with people just inquiring as to what the situation was.
Service dates are usually announced in the newspaper, but at such short notice and no guest list, people were left to assume there would be a change in date, the rescheduling leaving a bit of a backlog in services.
Burials were unable to take place yesterday. All the cemeteries were closed, so all of those needed to be postponed. So those funerals have needed to be rescheduled to later in the week, so that has meant that the rest of the week will be quite full and quite busy.
If confusion in the rescheduling wasn't deterring enough, some guests were afraid to venture out on icy roads, preventing them from saying goodbye to loved ones.
Less people will attend funerals this week. We've noticed that, yesterday with a couple of funerals that did go ahead, and today, particularly older people, they're less confident on the road. And I think we're seeing that they are tending to stay home. So, attendance at some funerals is lower than we probably would have expected.
And missing such a vital part of the grieving process takes its toll.
It's difficult for everyone at the moment with these types of events in the city. It's difficult just getting around the city. So, whereas a funeral is an emotional time for families, at the best of times, this is just an additional pressure that I suppose just makes it harder on everyone.
Those who could make it witnessed a bit of a unique end to the funeral service, with hearses leaving the gates, their wheels fitted with chains.
We've put chains on a number of vehicles, which helps. On a hearse, it's probably not a great look to have chains, but it's practical.
A sight people hopefully won't have to see again for a while.
Coming up after the break, your local weather. Welcome back. The New Zealand dollar is at an all-time high due to debt problems in the United States. We're on ahead with your weekly business update.
Well, again, we're talking about the currency, the NZ dollar. The NZ dollar is right in focus again. 87 cents, a new post-float high again this week. And put that in perspective, last year, 71 cents at this time. So an amazing increase, 5 cents up since June. So if you're travelling, great stuff. You can buy airfares cheaper than ever. But if you're an exporter, you're not so happy. And last night we saw the Federated Farmers Chairman come out and say, this currency has really got us quite worried. It keeps things under control in terms of inflation, for sure, but it's hurting export returns. And he had another big worry as well. What happens if the currency goes the other way? Then he says it'll be an inflationary time bomb. So I guess we're all covering that in the financial media this week. And we have a great currency column on Headliner as well. And every morning on our website, headliner.co.nz, we post around about the first hour of the day reports from the big banks on where they think the currency is going to go. So if you're interested in that, you'll find it all there in great detail. The other thing that's occurring in that context in terms of the markets and also the currency is this week is the week the government, the Reserve Bank to be precise, has to decide about its official cash rate. Not to get too technical about that, but that's the rate they set, which drives all the monetary decisions by the banks. The government looks at this from the point of view of fiscal policy. The Reserve Bank looks at monetary policy. We won't get too carried away on that. We don't expect them to change the rate yet, but they will sometime, and when they do, interest rates on your mortgages are bound to go up again. So we're watching that quite closely in Headliner. And on the rates market, I guess the interesting thing locally is the new red and black bond, which has been issued by Westpac. It's 5.8 in terms of its headline interest rate. You strip off 0.5, which goes to the Christchurch Earthquake Appeal Trust, and what you'll get is 5.3%. We're going to look at that in Headliner next week and again on the website through this week. That's an interesting situation because all the professionals doing the work there have given all their time free. All the big banks and the stockbrokers are giving their time free to set that bond underway, and including all their brokerage as well. So that's quite a nice thing to do.
And Pete Smith hit the streets today on Street Talk to ask people how they managed in the snow, and did people feel they had enough information after Monday's big hit.
I must admit I handled the snow surprisingly well for me, but I wonder how the rest of Canterbury got on with it. Sure, it's an inconvenience, but we did know it was coming, didn't we? So it didn't catch anyone by surprise. But the Street Talk question today is, well, how did Cantabrians handle what was one of the heaviest dumps of snow Canterbury's seen for many, many years?
I just stayed inside and kept warm.
Yeah. Now, we did know it was coming, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
I thought the forecasters were very good, didn't you?
Yes.
Yeah, they
yes.
told us what was going to happen.
That's right, yes.
They almost
Doesn't always happen.
No, and they almost got the time jolly right,
That's
didn't
right.
they? Yeah.
Yes, they did.
So your house is okay?
Yes,
You're
fine,
okay?
thank you. Yes,
Good on
thank
you.
you.
Thanks very much.
It was pretty. Well, it was cooling, but now we had enough.
Yeah. You're on a stick. What about getting outside the house? Was that a bit of a problem?
Awkward.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. When it got icy, it was a trouble, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But to be fair, we did know it was coming, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. We
They
got plenty
told
of
us.
warning this time.
Yeah,
That's
which is
for
a
real.
big help, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you remember some big snows in Canterbury?
Yes.
Yeah.
1945.
You remember 45?
Yes.
Yeah, that must have been a shocker,
I
was
was
it?
at school then.
Were you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you have to go to school?
Oh, no.
So you got a day off, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
we sure did.
Well, how long did you have off, do you remember?
I don't know. I think it went on for quite a wee while.
Right,
A week or so, I think.
Oh yeah, quite good really. Yeah,
Yeah.
no problem at all really.
Yeah. You haven't slipped or fallen?
No, we just get up at the right time of the day and get out when the sun's shining there and everything is melted.
Now the good thing was we did know about it coming, didn't we, this time?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
I thought they were good, the forecasters.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
They, you go and give them about, 80, 85% there,
Yeah. How did you go, my old mate?
Good.
You handled it all right?
Good as gold.
No damage to your home?
No.
No. And you haven't had a fall or anything?
No.
No, good boy.
I was here in the 1992 one.
Yeah, now, that was a biggie. I was
Yeah.
here then too. But
Yeah.
this was a fair dollop in one hit, wasn't it?
Yeah, bigger than that one.
But they got it right. They almost told us when it was going to start and stop.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you managed okay?
Yeah, good as gold.
Good boy. You weren't here in 45?
No.
No.
Oh, yes, I was.
Were you?
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd have been at school then, were you?
Yeah.
Do you remember it?
No, I can't.
No, it's gone now.
Gone.
Yeah.
Well, I've only look after the dog during the day, so yeah, I think she's coped all right with the snow.
Did she go out in it?
Yeah, I took her out there yesterday in the snow. Yeah. No, and my dog at home loved it.
This will be the first time she's seen it, I suppose.
Well, could be. Yeah, could be. Yeah.
It was beautiful.
Yes.
I kept indoors and I kept warm.
Right. You had enough
And
heating?
this is the first time I've been out.
Yes?
Yes.
So you didn't venture out at all?
No, I couldn't really get past my front door.
No.
Too dangerous.
Very icy.
I could fall.
Yeah, that's the worry, isn't it, is to have a slip and have a fall.
That's right.
But you had enough provisions?
Oh yes, I always have a little bit up in the cupboard, a few tins of this, a little bit in the freezer, and
So you
always
managed it?
prepared. Yes, I managed.
I thought the forecasters were good. They told us when it was coming, didn't they?
That's right, they did.
And they got
yes.
it pretty right.
Yes.
Yeah. Nice to see the sun today.
It's beautiful.
It's warm, isn't it?
It's a beautiful day, and you
It
just
is.
have a lovely day.
Lovely to see you. Thanks very much. Pleased you made it okay.
Yeah.
Did you get out in it?
No.
No, because you were on a stick. Now that must worry you a little bit.
Yes, got to be very careful.
Because it's still slippery, isn't it?
It is very slippery.
Especially out of the sun, you know, with the sun, there's no
Yeah,
sun gets
yeah,
on
it is a bit.
it stays frozen.
But weren't the weather forecasters good? They told us when we were going to get it, and we got it, and I thought they were good this time.
Yeah, but the only thing they tell you is they can't get the low temperatures right. I mean,
How cold it's going to be.
we were supposed to get -2 the other night, and it got down to -6.
I know, it was blooming cold, wasn't it?
It was.
Did you manage to keep warm in your house?
Yes, we did.
Yeah, no
Yes.
bother.
No.
No bother.
You had enough food?
Oh yes.
You didn't have to get out?
No.
Oh, God. Just getting the paper was a trouble.
I don't think we would have got out anyway.
I think so.
I grew up with snow, so I
Did you?
Yeah.
Whereabouts?
In South Island.
Yeah. So you're used to it?
Well, it used to snow quite a bit more when we were children.
Right. Yeah.
I don't like the icy bit, that's what I
No,
don't
did you stay indoors at the time or what?
Yes.
Yeah. And you had enough food and provisions?
Yes.
Yeah, so you're all set. But how'd you guys get on?
Yeah, oh, not so bad.
Not so bad?
Yeah,
You're warm enough?
Yes, yeah, we keep them warm.
And you had enough
Yeah.
food?
Yes, we got enough food, yes.
So you didn't have to go out?
No, we didn't have to go out.
Yeah, now, I reckon the forecasters were good this time. They told us virtually everything, didn't they?
Yes, they did.
And they damn near got the timing spot on, didn't
Yes, yeah, it was very good.
they? I thought it was
Yeah.
excellent. We all knew what was going to happen,
Yeah.
and it did. So,
Yeah, that's right.
Now it's a messy time, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
So what will Eula do in all the wet?
Oh,
She's an inside dog.
She's an inside dog.
She lives inside with us.
Takes after her father. Hey, you don't look as though you go out too much, mate. Not the bad weather.
No, not in the bad weather, no.
Well, there you go. Like me, most people have handled it pretty well. But you do feel, don't you, for some of the older people, especially those on sticks, because there's still a lot of ice around, it's still treacherous, and they've got to take care. But most people had food, didn't need to go out, and could keep warm. And they did like the weather forecasters.
And that's your news and weather. I'm Rob Cope-Williams.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.